May 6th, 2024. This is the S&P 500 E-Futures Mini on the Ninja Trader 8 on 2000 tick chart. This is what the chart looked like today. I did not take any trades today because for the better portion of this morning, and I just got back in the last, I think, 30 minutes, that's actually when I was able to review the charts. So these chart markings and where I thought I saw trades is after the fact, and unfortunately it's not in real time. So, even if you try to move it bar by bar, with the knowledge of you kind of already know what's happened throughout the day, it does affect your thinking. And so even though I marked these trades, I can't honestly say that I would have found them in real time or if I would have actually taken them. It was a no trade day for me. There was no economic data that came out to move the markets. It looked like it was just one, I guess, one spike up, pretty long consolidation, and then kind of like another two legs up, these two orange legs up, maybe a small little correction. It wasn't There wasn't too much price action today, and the chart looked like it was low volume, low volatility. So I think I only marked like, well, as you can see, about 5 potential trades, and I think I called one an almost trade. So in the pre-market, volume was pretty low. There wasn't much price action happening, and I'm actually kind of glad there wasn't much price action happening because I wasn't away from my desk. I was away from my desk for quite a bit of time, so I'm glad I didn't really miss any opportunities, I guess. So initially, I saw this big leg and then kind of a sideways consolidation. I found this yellow channel a little bit later. So I do see a new high here. It's a first entry long pullback. This I thought was a potential trade, a second entry long. So it's bouncing off the EMA, which has been tested early on, but then has been pretty much respected. And I thought there was a kind of a support trend line here you could use to justify another key entry point. On top of that, this signal bar, it made the same highs and it's only 4 ticks, so it's only 1 point. So it might be a risk worth taking because it showed that it could break below, but it closed above the EMA. So I think there's a possible trade here. I think if you took it, it would have worked. Price then continue moving up. I drew this purple. So at the time, I would think there's this yellow up channel and this purple up channel. And this purple up channel seems to be fitting pretty well. But then it starts to break out of this purple channel. And this is actually where I saw maybe there's potential. So double top here. You have a first entry long pullback. You have a potential second entry long. This is a very low risk candle as well. And I think I'm not necessarily sure I would have taken it. So I think it's an almost trade because it looks kind of congested. The bodies of these candles are very tiny compared to the wicks. And even the total size of the candles themselves aren't that big. So you could make the argument that it's a break of this purple channel and wants to test the highs. But the purple channel itself isn't that convincing because there's a lot of blank area up here, a lot of blank area down here. It only went from the lows to the highs, tested the highs again, went back to the lows, and here it failed to make the highs. So I'm not convinced that prices are necessarily going to move back into the purple and test the highs. On top of that, I have an overlapping yellow up channel, which seems to fit somewhat well. And I think I would have had it probably lower here and treated this as an overshoot at this point in time. So as an overshoot here, I'm expecting probably prices could come down here. So the thing is, you can make an argument that maybe there's a long trade possibility, but you could also make an argument that this is potentially going to be a failed second entry long to come back down and test here from this failed breakout because it's not clear, at least to me, which is the real channel I should be paying more respect to because the yellow one fits pretty well and the purple one kind of fits pretty well. So if you can make an argument for both sides, then it's better to wait for a confirmation setup, like either high or low, lower high if you're trying to go long or short. So I marked it, but I called it an almost trade because I don't really know what's going on. Consolidates, it breaks out, and then I think you would just edge this yellow up channel here. I don't think the purple's in play now, so it looks like it's kind of this one leg up, and it kind of evens out, becomes a little more shallow leg. You do have a new high, first entry long, second entry long right here. It is being supported by the EMA, but I wasn't too sure. I just want to do a bar by bar replay for myself, or just move a bar by bar, trying to simulate this in real time. I just didn't trust this setup as a long trade, but in hindsight, maybe it could have been one. and chops around. I think there's a trading range right here now because it looks like there's some kind of support being respected here. Bounces off the top, so you could say there's a potential triple test, maybe quadruple test, but it still fits this yellow up channel pretty nicely. There's new high, first entry long, second entry long. This is a terrible signal bar to go long on. It's doji. And then this one, maybe you could make an argument to go long right here. It breaks out. It's a failed breakout on this side, makes one attempt back up. Here it comes down this side. Now I'm questioning whether there's going to be a breakout on this side. So it's a failed breakout here, potentially a failed breakout here. It looks like it's going to create a failed breakout and a potential second entry long. It's like looks like it's two clean legs down. And it might be moving back into range because the first definitive, besides this one, clear break on this side. So I'm thinking prices could be moving back in. It's a decent signal bar. And it looked like it would have worked. You have a new high, new low, first entry short, second entry short. This isn't a very good signal bar to go short. Plus, you'd be selling into this potential low of this trading range. And it just gets really noisy. It pushes up. You do have technically, well, you have a new high here. It's a first entry long pullback, second entry long. You could make an argument that this is a higher low. What gives me pause in calling this a higher low is there's these previous candles that are doji-ish and sitting right behind. So it looked like there's indecision and now it's kind of finding its way. So when you see this in real time, I'm just more reluctant to just jump in on the trade yet. Pushes to the top. Technically you have a new high, first entry long. And then maybe you get a second entry long, but I saw this more clearly as a higher low because I like that it ticked one tick below and then reversed pretty strongly. It is a little far from this overall trading range now to say it's a failed breakout, but something about this setup I really like, but it's hard to say in real time whether I would have taken this trade or not. Because it is a break of this orange down channel on the low side, so you're thinking maybe it's going to have enough momentum to come back up. There's enough room to get to the lows here before you potentially see a rejection if you're going long, as well as the EMA. The EMA was sitting right at this trading range low, and this candle closed up higher, and my entry would have been even closer to a potential two key entry point rejectors, meaning this could be a rejection resistance, or this could be, and I don't think I would have been as keen. But here you look like there's enough room for a quick scalp. Look like it would have worked though. Prices then continue chopping, pushes one up, pushes the second up, chops around. So it breaks out of this green channel, tests one push up, makes a new high, confirmed here. It's a failed breakout. I mean, when I saw this, I'm thinking, is there a trade in real time? I'm not sure how this opened and closed, but it looked like it ticked one tick up. Uptrend is played out, then it flushed down so hard. So this might have been a trade here. I think it's a little more aggressive though. The uptrend has played out, it's moving back into range. So I guess you could mark it as a failed breakout. And just for completeness, I'm going to go back and mark this as a potential second entry long. So say new high, first entry long, pullback, second entry long, so higher low here, right there. First entry long, second entry long, plus a higher low. Prices then continue moving. It starts pushing up and out. Looks like it's one leg pullback, second leg. You have first entry long. You technically have a second entry long here, but I don't like it looks at the signal bar. It looks a little bit choppy. You get a higher low here, but it just doesn't look that great to me. This orange channel doesn't exist yet, so I couldn't really use it and say, well, obviously it bounced off this orange support. If it bounced off the EMA, that'd be a different question, but it didn't, so it just kind of gets a little noisy. I do see a new high here. It's first entry long pullback. This is a second entry long, but here you're not really sure it's going to be a second entry long yet because this looks like it's just potentially just one big leg down. But it's a potential trade if you're a little more aggressive. You could say it broke the orange up channel, made one attempt up, pullback. It could make the second attempt up, and it is bouncing off the EMA. It's pretty close. My chart shows that it's just barely touching it, but I consider it a reasonably good bounce. Plus, there's only a 1 point risk, so this is a potential trade I think might have been worth taking, worth the risk. Looked like it would have worked. Pushes up. You have a new high, first entry long, second entry long. Then you have a third entry long, so no trade here. It starts pushing down on this yellow down channel. Looks like it's a new low here. It's a first entry short. You don't really get a second entry short, so you can't really say there's a second entry short failure here. It's kind of too far from the setup at this point. Pushes up, and you're kind of reaching. So from here all the way to here, you're already in the last 10 minutes. And then prices just kind of push up on this orange channel. It's a little noisy in the aftermarket. And I'm not even trading here, so it doesn't even matter. I don't even trade this on normal days when I trade. So kind of how the chart looked like today. Rather uneventful. So it's an okay day to, well, a good day to just not have traded, which kind of worked out for me, and not take any trades. And it's probably a good day to probably, well, do something else, because watching all this price action unfold, this isn't very many candles, so there's not much happening here. So you could get stuck in a trade and be waiting 20, 30 minutes for you to finally exit, depending on what your profit target was. So overall, it's kind of how I saw it. It's kind of a short, quick little review, but yeah, I'm glad nothing other than this really happened, so I don't feel too much FOMO. Hopefully that was helpful.